Guys, I hope you guys are keeping warm and keeping safe at the same time. Thank you very much for the tremendous amount of support that you guys showed on the last video that I uploaded. Thank you very much for interacting with me on social media platforms. I really appreciate it. You guys are stars. I love you so much. Now, here's my request. May we please continue to replicate the action by liking, loving, commenting, voting, subscribing, and doing all these kind of type of things that makes other people's businesses to be in our faces. Because we can't deny it anymore. We're moving, not slowly, but very rapidly to the virtual age. So now the more your business is in people's faces, the more your offerings, the more your goods, and every single thing that you're offering is in people's faces, the better your chances. And remember, you as a person that shares, you're not losing anything. But if you've seen my last video, you'll realize that you're actually gaining, because the universe works in a very interesting way. Whatever that you give, you tend to get back. Whatever that you withhold, you don't get. Think about that. Now, today I want to speak about something very different. That is, why do we enjoy boxing people? Why do we enjoy putting people in boxes? Why do we find pleasure in categorizing people? Example, he's a public speaker, he's supposed to behave in a certain way. He's a pastor, he's supposed to behave in a certain way. He's a gospel singer, he's supposed to behave in a certain way. She's a model, supposed to behave in a certain way. She's a composer. Call it whatever that you want to call it. Why do we enjoy in doing that? And we find so much of a pleasure because it actually becomes a noteworthy event if people do things that are out of society's expectation. Very sad indeed. It is an action that needs to be called to order. Because here's my question. Who are you to dictate how am I supposed to live? Who are you to tell me how am I supposed to live my life? And while we're on these questions, these guidelines and principles that have been set by the society, who set them in the first place? Who said that a gospel artist is supposed to dress in a certain way? Who said gospel music only has to be played on Sunday? Who said hip-hop cannot be played on a Sunday? Who said I'm not supposed to curse on my videos? Who said? We never stop to ask these questions because we enjoy being on an autopilot mode. Because you know what's the thing about the autopilot mode? It's an automatic action. It doesn't require any sort of thinking. It doesn't require any sort of introspection. It doesn't require any sort of questioning. The society will be comfortable with you, or it will continue to be comfortable with you, so long as you are coloring or drawing within the lines. The moment you jump out of what they expect you to do, all hell breaks loose. They will come crumbling on you like a stack of bricks, to a point where you actually even start questioning what is it that you're doing. So we need to be very careful that we don't succumb to this autonomous way of doing things. I'll give you an example. I refuse to be boxed. I refuse to be told how to live my life. I refuse to be dictated to how am I supposed to run my business. I'm not saying listen and hear me right. I'm not saying I'm denying advices. I'm not saying I'm not teachable. Hear me out right. But I'm doing what feels good for me. And you know what people call me, or you calling me for that? I don't even want to mention it. And I can just imagine how many people have been susceptible to this sort of treatment and they gave into it. There's a lot of people that dropped their dreams. There's a lot of people that didn't write those songs. There's a lot of people that didn't start that business. There's a lot of people that haven't written the book because somebody else or the society has a different idea from what you have. Let me get you out of your miseries. The fact that you've been requested or something feels good for you to do, that has been planted and placed in your life for a purpose. It's not for anybody else to understand it. Expecting the society to understand your dream, expecting the world to understand your writing, expecting people to understand the way how you behave. It's a killer of all the beautiful initiatives that we nearly had. This sounds more of a noble idea, but it's not a noble idea. It's because we are ignoring it. We are the society that has stopped thinking a long time ago. Instead of being taught on how to think, we are being taught what to think. So when you're starting to draw or to paint outside of what the people expect, they shoot you down. They write you off. They call you names. They call you crazy. For those few that are still hanging on after being bashed, I take my hat for you guys. I mean, the reason why I said, I'm talking about this is because I have countless amount of personal experiences about what I'm talking about today. It's been a couple of years since I've been in business of public speaking after leaving my corporate environment. And needless to say that it's not every day that things come out well or as planned. And you have to change every single time. Tweak it here, change it here, won't work. Tweak it here, change it here, it won't work. Tweak it here, change it here, it won't work. But for some reason, the purpose or the mission never leaves my heart. And I know there's a lot of people that are going through the same experience. The only way that you can be able to continue doing that is silencing those voices that want to box you, silencing those suggestions that want to dictate how are you supposed to live your life. And this thing is not only pertinent to business, it's pertinent to relationships, how you're supposed to handle your finances, how you're supposed to raise your kids, a whole lot of spheres. No one ever stops and asks, why am I doing this? No one ever does. Ever stops and asks. We are just on an autopilot mode because it's comfortable. It's not costing us anything. And the very same people that accuse you or criticize you for drawing or painting out of line are envying you, are watching you. They wish they were you. As amazing that might sound, they are watching you, waiting for your downfall, waiting for your demise. May you keep on suspending that time until it never happens. So we never ask ourselves, why do we do things in a certain way? This is the time that we need to do that because a whole lot of things are changing. Like back then before the pandemic, for us to call you successful, we were talking about money. Not anymore. For us to call you successful, we're asking you how many relationships you have. Because relationships these days have turned out to be the new currency. So you see, if things can change like that, imagine how many things we're doing automatically. How many things we do without questioning them. Because we have succumbed to being placed in a box. I, for one, I refuse. You're not going to measure my success by how much money do I have. You're not going to measure my success by what car do I drive. You're not going to measure my success by where I live. You're not going to measure my success by anything else but what I tell you to. Because for me, success is totally different. But how did that idea come about? It came about by questioning and refusing to be placed in a box. A society will amaze you. Like for an example, if you drive a car, that for some reason is a sign of wealth. Who said that? If you're staying in a certain, particularly the north, you've made it. If you're wearing a certain type of apparel, you got money. If you're drinking a certain amount of beverage or a certain type of beverage, you've made it. Who said that? I mean, these are the things that needs to be questioned, but they came about by succumbing by the idea or succumbing to the idea of being boxed. May we continue to push that idea back, and may we stop putting people in boxes, because that is the enemy of progress. Thank you very much for tuning in. Remember, please like my page, share my content, share some suggestions, comment if you wish, inbox me, send me a WhatsApp, recommend my page, and may we continue doing the same thing for other people. Thank you very much. See you guys on the flip side.